Hello guys, thank you very much for watching this video. I'm Melkin. No. I'm Melkin. This is my reading and reaction video to Square Enix like statement site in their site. Here's the link to this reading in this live stream. And keep in mind that this is the like this is the official site of Square Enix. So these are their materials and stuff. So please use them responsibly. Like I like to read terms and conditions, and I make Final Fantasy VIII videos. When I was reading their terms and condition, I stumbled upon some interesting information about Square Enix UK. Now we know that Square Enix Canada has sold some intellectual properties, including Tomb Raider, and in Eidos Interactive, uh, together with like their employees as well. So like a set of companies being sold to what is it? What's the name of the company? Let me search it up, guys. Excuse me for a bit. Sorry. Embracer. Embracer. Okay, the name of the company is Embracer. So Embracer like bought Tomb Raider, Juice EX, and another thing I forgot the name, and also Eidos. What I know, Eidos Interactive is Chicken Run. I used to play Chicken Run as well, so I know that it's no longer with Square Enix now. It has been sold. But little that I know that is actually Square Enix UK, and it is a company of itself. I don't know how it is connected to Square Enix. I tried to look it up in Wikipedia, and I couldn't find the way they are related. It seems like they are not going to relieve their operations entirely in global. Uh, you know what? Let's get into that later. So let's get in what this live stream is about. This link is a statement of the company that they are not conducting slavery act. So I find this interesting. Read this together. Modern Slavery Act Transparency in Supply Chain Statement, last updated Thursday, 1st of April 2021. Introduction. Square Enix Limited, or Square Enix, is a responsible corporate citizen. Accordingly, Square Enix seeks to ensure that excellent quality and safety standards are maintained through its supply chain and its business by well-treated, fairly compensated workers in accordance with all applicable laws. This statement is made pursuant to Section 54 of the Modern Slavery Act 2015 and constitutes the slavery and human trafficking statement for Square Enix and its subsidiaries for the financial year ending 31st of March 2018. Square Enix publishes and distributes interactive entertainment content. It is a UK-based and incorporated member of the Square Enix Group of companies, the Group, which is a provider of entertainment products and services in the world, as we all know, of course. Square Enix has a number of subsidiaries across the globe covering various activities from design and development of interactive entertainment products to marketing and distribution within their local markets. The complete list of subsidiary companies is as follows. Now, here we go, guys. USA, Eidos Incorporation and Crystal Dynamics Incorporations. Canada, Eidos Interactive Corporation. UK, Psy Games Limited, Eidos Limited, Center Gold Limited, and Psy Entertainment Group Limited. France, Square Enix SARL. Germany, Square Enix GmbH. I was I GmbH. Oh, I'm sorry, guys. It stands for something. Denmark, IO Interactive Holding AS. China, Eidos Creative Software Shanghai Co. Limited. Now, this statement covers the steps taken by Square Enix to ensure that slavery and human trafficking is not occurring in its business or supply chain. It also reflects the group-wide approach to slavery and human trafficking and seriousness with which the group takes its responsibilities in relation to such issues. As such, the steps identified have, in part or in whole, been taken across the group, including but not limited to Square Enix. In terms of policy, number three, policies. Square Enix is committed to ensuring that there is no slavery or human trafficking in any part of its business or its supply chains. The Group Code of Conduct requires Square Enix employees and executive officers to act with professional ethics and to conduct business fairly in strict compliance with applicable law in the countries where Square Enix does business. The Group Code of Conduct also requires group companies to pay attention to third-party management conditions and track record when engaging with them. It also requires group companies to provide a wholesome and comfortable working environment for employees in which they are treated fairly. Okay, we all like this, guys. Like, we all want to be working in an environment that we are not being exploited unfairly, and it is great that like multinational corporations and stuff, they are scrutinized by government, obviously, to do something like this. um like they make all of these environmental statement, they make this anti-slavery statement, especially if I read on policies of groups or companies, right, in EU, right? They have lots of impressive, actually, policies for the protection of the consumers or public in general. Let's say, for example, in Europe, they have like returning policies. Returning policies, their returning policies is a lot more. They give a lot of power to consumers. While in other parts of the world outside of US, there's something special about the US as well. Like for example, in Asia, like companies would make a very short policy, like if you want to return the stuff, just make sure you notify us. Just Oh, no return. There's no more return because this is an electronic. You download this, you don't get to return this. Uh, you should have read and you should have known about the product beforehand. But whereas in Europe, you have usually from the terms and conditions that I read, right? In Europe, they have like 14 days trial and stuff. um I don't know, I couldn't really articulate it well. Just I'm sorry. I mean, yeah, they have like, it is great that companies are scrutinized like this, that they actually put on resources, like some amount of money to concentrate on not just their own benefit but also the benefit of the people. I don't believe that companies would do this under their own volition. I believe that there's some kind of policy pressure or like governmental pressure. But I could be wrong. There could be companies that are like a saint. But it's the dynamics of politics, and it shows that no matter how the media or the popular people say that all politicians are crooked and everything, within all of those crookedness, I'm not saying that they are wrong, but within all of their crookedness, we're still enjoying stuff that is really good. There's also a podcast. There's also Joe Rogan's podcast with, oh my god, with like they are also talking about this in Joe Rogan's podcast, how politicians are actually contributing to you, and we are lucky that people have made good decisions in the past instead of bad. I would get into that later. So, okay, back to Square Enix stuff, okay? The group code of conduct requires Square Enix employees and executive officers to act with professional ethics and conduct business fairly in strict compliance with the applicable law in the countries where Square Enix does business. The group code of conduct also requires group companies to pay attention to third-party management conditions and track record when engaging with them. It also requires group companies to provide a wholesome and comfortable working environment for employees in which they are treated fairly. So another first part of 3.3 says that even their suppliers, right? Even uh, the third party, like even the accountants, even the auditors, right? Even Gumi, for example, I play World of Vision. They cooperated with Gumi. That I believe Gumi is also a third party to Square Enix, and I believe that they are also subject to this scrutiny, right? Square Enix also has in place a group whistleblowing system for employees to highlight potential misconduct, including contravention of applicable laws or group policy. A copy of the code of conduct can be read at HD Square Enix. Okay, company philosophy stuff. Okay, we'll get into this, guys, because this is some good stuff. I have read this stuff. This is some good stuff. Let me post this real quick in the video description. Okay. Um, what else can I say? I cannot say anything. Uh, please wait, guys. I am posting it. Just for a moment. Just for a moment. Thank you very much for waiting. Due diligence processes. For one, Square Enix currently believes the risk of slavery or human trafficking in its supply chain to be low. Square Enix therefore does not currently audit its suppliers for compliance. However, Square Enix will consider increased measures such as auditing or third-party verification for any suppliers that it determines are of medium or high risk. If Square Enix suspects a supplier is involved in such activities, it will conduct an inquiry and, if necessary, terminate that supplier and or take other corrective action immediately. All right, guys. Now, this is the part that to understand this part even better, we read this document, right? This document that that just linked right here. Let me close down the cookie policy first. I understood. I've read them. Okay. Um, all right, so I've opened up the link, right? And it says corporate philosophy to spread happiness across the globe by providing unforgettable experience. This philosophy represents our company's mission and the beliefs for which we stand, right? Each of our customers has his or her own definition of happiness. Okay, so they want to spread happiness to their own customers in their own definition. So that's wonderful. Square Enix provides high quality content, services, and products to help those customers create their own wonderful, unforgettable experiences, thereby allowing them to discover a happiness all their own. That is such a that is look at this. This philosophy is really um unique and refreshing, in my opinion. Management guidelines. In working to make our corporate philosophy a reality, we will manage our group with the following policies as our key guidelines. One, we will strive to be a company that delivers unparalleled entertainment. Whoa! Two, we will value innovation and creativity. Now, number one is interesting in a way that why is that related to delivering happiness? It is interesting to see, right? The explanation is this. Through our games, amusement offerings, publications, merchandising, and other contents and services, we will be steadfast in our efforts to deliver unparalleled entertainment to our customers, right? Um, that by excelling in such products, they provided happiness to their customer, which is logical. Now, what I wanted to say about this, and I'm going to sum up all of that we have read so far, is that this for a company that is as big as this, right? It is important to them to be socially socially friendly. It's not They really don't want to be asocial. Now this speaks that uh, that as much as we always heard about the evil global multinational corporations, they still could not hold on their own, guys. They as much as some of this may be true. Okay, I'm not saying Square Enix is one of them. Absolutely, like I am their user. I am blessed with their products. Okay, but even if there are some evil multinational corporations, there is a force in the world that won't let them be evil. And the fact that big corporations are there shows that, and as we could see, that this policy, I'm sure a lot of other companies like Exxon, for example, like Shell, for example, they have a policy to be socially responsible. And I do believe that we should not overlook the fact that the reason that they become big is not just because of their evil endeavor or their evil tricks. They could not also stand without things that are good, right? Just straight up, their products gotta be good. Their employment, they gotta be good. We already have systems in place, and a lot of people are not realizing this, guys. And they all are so full of propaganda that everything that is bigger than them is evil. Well, well, let's take a look at this. Let's take a look at the writings that is on the wall. Like you can hold them responsible for this. As much as an evil multinational corporation could be so powerful, they could ignore all of these things, relatively speaking. But it is inevitable that people can hold them responsible just by the fact that there are laws in place and there are terms and conditions in their website, and that they have public policies set in place for everybody to hold them responsible for, right? Okay, now to be specific, now to Square Enix, a lot of people said like, oh, the Japanese enslaves their employees. Well, guys, you can hold them responsible because they themselves have put on this policy. This is a corporate wide policy, right? It's about Square Enix Group. They really don't want, they really are putting it out there that they can be held on to this. So even if people would say, oh, Square Enix have committed some evil practices, well, well, take a look at other companies that don't have these policies. What kind of things that are happening under the table? At least we have this over the counter, right? And people could scrutinize them about this, and I'm sure these smart people don't want trouble. Okay, let's continue, guys. I'm sorry for talking too much. Number two, we will value innovation and creativity by giving rise to new expressions and ideas and creating experiences like none ever encountered before. We will deliver contents and services that surpass the expectations of our customers. We believe that it is in our unrelenting efforts to this end that our existential value and the value of our brand lie. Number three, we will respond with sensitivity and flexibility to environmental changes. We are surrounded by an environment that is ever changing. We will stay attuned to those changes and be flexible in adapting the nature and format of our contents and services, as well as our business models accordingly. In addition, we will stay at the forefront of change so that we can provide our customers with excitement and fun. Number four, we will create a corporate structure that is both collaborative and competitive. Our contents and services are born of teamwork and could never be created without the concerted efforts of a team that is fully united. At the same time, it is important that we engage in collegial competition in order to inspire one another to greater heights. We will foster a corporate culture that promotes such competitive collaboration. Uh, okay, I, I I I feel like I wanted to say something, but I'm going to reserve that sentiment for now. Code of conduct. The code of conduct elaborates on matters to be complied with by employees and executive officers of the group through their duties in relation with customers for the group's products and services, shareholders, business partners, and society, bearing in mind the spirit of corporate philosophy and management guidelines. By publishing this code of conduct, the group wishes to pursue business operations and management, putting importance in relation with the group stakeholders. Okay, so the difference between shareholders and stakeholders, shareholders own the ownership of the company. They have the asset. They own the company. While stakeholders could include us, the customers, could include the suppliers, could everyone that is interested have interest within the company. Everyone. The government is also the stakeholders. Obviously, government, like quoting Warren Buffett, he said that the fact that we have to pay tax, corporates needs to pay tax, shows that the government is also a shareholder of a company, and they're the preference shareholders. They have a special shareholder rights to a portion of the company's income. So that is tax, and that is like a preference shareholder setup. It's very similar to preference shareholder setup. So should we include the government as shareholders of a company? Well, if we would follow that definition, that could probably one of the implication. But we need Warren Buffett to clarify that, obviously. Um, but yeah, like practically, the government is like an owner of your company, right? Even of all of your income. Okay, now I am going to say this after I read this, right? Um, the thing that I wanted to say is that we read about anti-slavery, right? Um, and a corporate culture that is both collaborative and competitive, and they have a code of conduct elaborates on matters to be complied with employees and executive officers of the group. Um, um, it's still difficult to say. Let's read on. Probably I could express it better later. I'm sorry, guys. Next one, general principles, ethics. The group shall offer employees and executive officers with educational and training opportunities so that they conduct fair and equitable businesses with a high level of professional ethics. Compliance. The group conduct of business shall be fair and lawful, strictly in compliance with laws and regulations in the countries, regions, and provinces where the group is doing business. Rules of the stock exchange, internal regulations, common law, and custom of trade. Diversity. The group shall respect and foster diversities of nationality, race, religion, thought, and creed, age, gender, sexual orientation, physical condition, and so forth through organizational operation and human resource management. Oh, the group shall never discriminate against people based on such traits, nor use such traits as the basis of personnel evaluations. Oh, wait a minute. This is the part where I don't really, I need to be, we need to be careful, guys. A lot of conducts in companies nowadays is a bit unfair in a way that people at human resource management must be those who are who are graduates of social studies. You know what I mean? And these people really believe on that everything is power. Everything is about power, and they don't really care about making things work, right? It's all about hierarchy and power and positions. It's not about technicalities and making things work and making things run well. It's about positions and social domination, or probably um, so leadership is not based on utility, but based on what? I don't know, chaos? I don't understand. This is like, I'm not saying Square Enix is like this, but the implication of this commonly, what I see within the companies is something that is not good, something that is weird, and it is not, like, it is fine about not being discriminatory, right? It is great, it is wonderful, but why is the implication is that we have to employ social justice warrior in human resource department? That is absurd. That is like, that's gonna, like, I would imagine, like, all the dramas that is not needed. I don't know, man. I don't like their attitudes, really. Okay. Next, two, customer relations, the best entertainment. The group shall make every effort to meet or even exceed customers' expectation through creation and offering of the best entertainment content. Okay, personal data collection. The group shall collect customers' personal data to the minimum extent necessary for provision of respective product or service, store and manage the collected personal data, and use it only for the purposes to which each customer gives prior consent. That is good. Improvement of customer satisfaction. The group shall make sustained efforts to maximize customer satisfaction through content, quality, and price of products and services offered to customers. Right. So I would imagine the implication is this, that there is an administration that would focuses on cost efficiency, right? The group shall also make fair disclosures and representations concerning its products and services so that customers may make satisfactory informed choice. The group shall also make fair disclosures and representations concerning its products and services so that customers may make a satisfactorily informed choice, right? The way it presented, Square Enix doesn't want to misrepresent stuff. Okay, that is the policy. So far, I still find it difficult to express this. In relation to games such as War of the Visions that I've played, and I'm sure a lot of other Square Enix games, we often see like people were working really hard, and they created games that compete with each other, right? And it is in their policy as well. Like they they it is okay for them to compete with each other. And based on this, based on this competition, right, we often find that people are under their own volition working really hard just to keep up. So in a way, like, and also this is another points of consideration is that the fact that Square Enix itself is a holding group. A holding group is like Gilgamesh and the gods, right? In War of the Visions, they supervise everything, and it is kind of centralized in that way. Even though it is decentralized in terms of management and innovation and stuff, the higher ups still has the power to intervene, veto. They still have the power to veto, and I guess it is well, while we are having all of this policy as players and as customers or as stakeholders, we should if we care, right, we should help them onto this more. Like, we should show them that we care. We should show them that, guys, I am like, I've read what you declare to us, and we like that, and we expect you to be like that. Now, in terms of competition within games, and it's related to the purchase of Tomb Raider and Eidos as well. It is great that we all of this time, there are a lot of games that are being put in the basement. So like Tomb Raider, of course there are sequels of Tomb Raider, and I've seen the trailer. It's beautiful. Like Valkyrie Profile. There's also a sweet sequel to Valkyrie Profile. That is great, but there's still a lot of games that haven't received a lot of love. So it is nice that there are other companies like Embrace who would want to buy that. Like I thank you a lot that would want to manage that dormant titles, right? And Deus Ex as well. A lot of people love Deus Ex, and people would it would be great that it is being spread throughout the world, throughout all of the companies and management, to be able to develop them and to maximize their potentials as well. Um, yeah, and sometimes the gods are not perfect. Okay, the gods, it's a centralized decision, so every decisions could have a trickle effect all the way to everyone. That is the power of the gods. And yeah, and it is important for us stakeholders to put our minds into it as well, because not only these big companies is a big part of the world, but also big part of our own personal life, um, our childhood, the characters that we love. Imagine, for example, if Tomb Raider turned out to be like, Tomb Raider became so poor, she she had to be a drug junkie or something like that, right? Let's not, like, all of these memories that were behind us, uh, it's like a character development within a movie, but this is in real life, guys. I saw Agrias, right, in some kind of this Gaia Final Fantasy or whatsoever. She become like a goddess or something, like a ethereal creature, like an esper, like a boss, like a dungeon boss. And it's like, what? This Agrias? Did someone smoke DMT and saw the inner manifestation, the inner multiverse dimension of Agrias, and imparted that into that character? I do have some kind of concern in my heart that, look, this Agrias is weird. This Agrias is a bit make me worry. Have they executed well, or have they not executed well? And the problem is, this Agrias is canon, that it is the real Agrias. So what I'm trying to get at, what I'm going to deliver, trying to deliver, is that, um, you might say, oh, the society might say, why would you care about this? These are just a game. But in your heart, you know that this is dear to you. This is a part of you growing up. And and the things that is happening here is going to affect all of our friends. Like, our friends would know that it will be in the back of their minds. All of the people who are like us, who like Final Fantasy, or who like other games, who like other movies, like, say, for example, Dragon Ball. Everything that happens, all of the character development, real life character development that is going to happen in the future, is low key is going to be in the back of the minds of all of these fans, right? Imagine One Piece. There are so many fans in the world, and something happened to Luffy. The ripple is going to be felt all over the world. The same thing with popular Final Fantasy titles. And if there's something happening, like Tomb Raider, like Lara Croft, now Lara Croft got bought, and what all of the implication, all of the thoughts is on the eyes of Lara Croft right here. So, guys, as much as this is their asset and this is their it, it should be on their power to make decisions and stuff. When we are not honest with ourselves that we care about this, uh they're just going to go in a direction that is not no longer putting us in their mind, in a way. You know what I mean? Like, oh, like these fans are not real fans, they don't really care. I mean, of course not. Of course, we are still real fans. Of course, those characters and those stories are still dear in our heart. Uh, how do I? It's still difficult. Let's move on. Let's continue on. Number three: shareholder investor relations, enhancement of corporate governance. The group shall maintain an optimal and clear allocation of decision-making power among the general shareholders meeting, board of directors, and management, pursuant to laws and regulations, the articles of incorporation, and internal rules in order to continue corporate management with a focus on shareholder satisfaction as well as effectiveness. Yeah, like if you're a shareholders, if you buy Square Enix share, uh, the management is going to be responsible to you. Appropriate accounting and fair disclosure. The group shall prepare financial statements in accordance with generally accepted accounting principles in Japan. Square Enix Holding Co. Limited, the company, shall disclose significant managerial information, including financial data, timely and appropriately, in accordance with regulations prescribed by the Tokyo Stock Exchange. Woo! Based on such disclosed information, the company shall promote active dialogue with shareholders and investors. Shareholder return. The company shall attach weight to return to shareholders in order to reward their continuous support to the company. The company shall implement appropriate shareholder returns, such as dividend or surplus, that is suitable for the company's managerial situation and stock market conditions. I already have some more to say about this. Number four, business partner relations. One, a fair trade. The group shall apply fair trade conditions to procurement or purchase from third-party vendors based on objective criteria such as price, quality, delivery time, etc. The group shall pay due attention to vendors' management conditions and track record. Two, no bribery. Employees and executive officers of the group shall never give nor receive any money and goods, offer nor accept excessive entertainment in relation to transactions under any circumstances. In addition, the group shall never offer bribes to public officials in any countries and regions. Prevention of forced labor, child labor, and slavery. The group shall prevent forced labor, child labor, or slavery in every part of its business and supply chains. The group shall immediately terminate its transactions with any supplier that is found to engage in such unacceptable practices. Okay, um, regarding number three, shareholder and investor relations, I want you guys to know my position on the relationship between the management and shareholder. I think shareholders are is the owner of the asset, so no one should take away that from them, unless they are contractually obligated or some legal means. Otherwise, it is their property, and no one should lay the hands on other people's property. It is theirs forever as long as it's theirs. Now, in terms of management, though, it's different. So let us separate between an owner and a CEO. A CEO is not always an owner. Most of the time, CEO would have stakes, of course, but like the role, you gotta separate these two roles, even though sometimes the person is the same, but the roles is different, and 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 it's important. I'm going to get into that. So the owner owns the company. It's a property. It is permanent, should not be shaken. Management, however, ideally you would want the one who is the most capable and the one most wanting to do their job, to do their role for the one that is and this the one is not always going to be the same person. You know what I mean? In a management, it is not always going to be the same people who are the most capable, who are the most desire, who have the most desire to perform for the shareholders. So so you so I do think people often not telling this apart. As a management, it is better to be able to be able to not always stick on the position. Hierarchical position, to me, should be fluid. It should not be an ownership. it, in fact, when it is an ownership of hierarchy, it would encroach the ownership of the asset, the value of the asset overall itself. So we don't want, so I don't want that. So the best is like those people who can manage the asset the most, they're the ones who take the role. And it is always fluid. When they are not, they're not. They're replaced. When they are, they're still the same. This is not right. So the distinction must be clear, and the money will go to the owner, right? The proceeds of the operations will go to the owner. um, they are going to receive compensation for their performance. That is only fair. But but the asset would always be owned, and the proceeds would always go to the owner. Now, what do you get out of this? You've already climbed up the corporate ladder so much, you've worked so hard, and then your position is fluid, and everybody just supposed to be able to take your position. You might feel like, why would I have that? But the answer is that all of the all of the compensation, all of the rewards you get for being the most effective and efficient, you can use that to acquire asset and property. And other than that, um, you can acquire royalties in an environment, or in a people that give thanks, in a people that is grateful, right? There's this thing called royalty. Okay, so if you perform well, you deserve royalty. Okay, in what shape or form. It doesn't always have to be intellectual property that is acknowledged by WIPO, right? it is just it is just like decency. Okay. And yeah, I think the problem is when people holding on too much on their hierarchy, reducing the value of the asset. It's all also because everybody, like including us, is not giving thanks enough. So we should acknowledge the utility and the appropriateness of royalties. And yeah, and if we keep on doing that, and we keep on building momentum towards that, and also, of course, we also have to perform ourselves in order to become a part of that circuit, right? And the more we are rewarded, the more we are rewarding, the better it will become. Because it is not, yes, it seems like a zero sum game. In a way, in an aspect, partially it's true. In an enclosure, right? In But it's experiencing entropy. Okay, it's experiencing the thing that is called zero sum game. Is diminishing, guys. We know that the reality of the matter is solutions are unlimited, and that is the real wealth right there. Solutions, not just materials. So uh, over time, we got to know this inside our mind, even though in practice it's kind of, look, how do we implement this? We need everybody to get on board on this and stuff. But there are also, like, there's got to be aspect that this truth would be able to transform a bit by bit. Okay, you don't have to wait for other people. You don't have to wait for the policy to take place. There's always room in your reality, in your property, in your management, that you can implement one or two aspects on this, and it would synchronize with everybody that is also trying. Everybody is trying. I'm not saying that people who don't live by this or acknowledge this are not trying. They're all trying. But I'm telling you, if this is true, and if this is true, then everything will synchronize like that. So if you don't believe it, it's fine, but the results is going to speak for itself. Okay, next, uh, we're going to talk about bribery. I've talked about this in another video. Please watch my other videos as well. In terms of employee relations, number 5, we got good working environment. The group shall endeavor to maintain a wholesome and comfortable working environment and also implement measures to maintain the safety and wealth of its employees. The group shall never tolerate any harassing behaviors, including so-called power harassment, pawahara, in the workplace. Furthermore, the group shall appropriately manage employees' working hours, giving consideration to employees' work-life balance. Again, like this slavery statement, it's related to this. 2. Fair assessment and treatment. The group has established a personnel system to promote the growth and satisfaction of its employees. Under the personnel system, employees are evaluated and treated in accordance with clear rules, objective appraisal standards, and fair process. That is that is exceptional. And 3, whistleblowing system. The group has introduced the whistleblowing system. The system provides independent and neutral contact channels for employees who are aware of any conduct against laws or internal rules, including this code or any other misconduct, or are subject to such wrongdoing. The system has established the rule that the whistleblowing employee shall not be treated disadvantageously. Yeah, I want to talk about diversification in this manner. If you're a, if you're living in a company that you cannot run away from, right? I could not imagine, because I unfortunately have never experienced working in a company that has a scale like Alibaba or like Google or like Square Enix, right? Um, I'm sure it's like another world right there, and and I guess it is easier in there, supposedly, theoretically speaking, to diversify, right? If you cannot be here, you can go there. If you cannot go there, you can go there. So it is, if you're a whistleblower in that environment, I guess you can be. And it's not going to endanger your career as much, because there are various different types of people and various different types of beliefs, uh, freedom of speech, right? As long as that is still being held on to by the company, and the company is not being um, such dystopian leader or something like that, I think you can be a whistleblower and still have a life within that kind of company. And actually, the company will get better because of you. But there are also other companies that is not as big, that's far smaller, and you cannot diversify. If you whistleblow, then your career ends. So it is really great to see that Square Enix have this in writing, guys. They have this in writing that this is our policy. It is a statement. So even if one day there's going to be some kind of, probably a new management where the CEO is crazy, right, and he wants to be a dystopian leader, everybody could scrutinize the company policy on that management. So that's great. And yeah, next, society relations. 1, respect for intellectual properties. The group considers intellectual properties as a source of value of a content provider. In this light, the group shall pay respect to third parties' intellectual properties. The group shall provide appropriate protection for its own intellectual properties in accordance with laws and contracts. The group shall also offer reasonable incentive to employees for their creations and inventions in order to enrich own intellectual properties. Okay, this is interesting. No insider trading. Employees and executive officers of the group shall never engage in trading of listed stocks that may fall under the category of insider trading under laws and regulations. Okay, so for example, you know that the company is going to be sold to Embrace, right? And you trade your stocks beforehand before everybody else knows about this. So you take advantage of it when the stock price go up. When the stock price would go up, like the stock of Embrace, not Square Enix stock. If you are at the Embrace management position, oh, we are going to get purchased by Square Enix for sure, and you trade on that, that could be scrutinized by the stock market, by the government, the part of the government that supervises the stock market, right? You cannot do that. That is an insider trading. Um, to this end, the group shall strictly store and manage its own undisclosed significant information, as well as third parties, such information to which the group has access through business operations. Right. Shouldn't trade on this information. No deal with anti-social forces. The group shall never have relations with anti-social forces or any party under their influence, nor enter into transaction with them. The group shall never respond to their unwarranted demand, like terrorist organization, for example. Contribution to society through sustained growth. The group shall strive to achieve sustainable growth of the enterprise while delivering appropriate profits. The group wishes to make an active contribution to the stability and prosperity of the world through the provision of products and services, shareholder returns, employment, tax payments, and so forth. Furthermore, the group shall strive to save energy and resources in operating its businesses in order to minimize any negative effects on the global environment. Right. So for sustainable growth, it's necessary. Again, diversification is necessary. Let's say, for example, you're Fujifilm and your only product is that camera. And now everybody has smartphones. What are you going to do? You cannot say, oh, we're just going to hold on to this. And you're just going to eat up your asset and probably you force your employees to do this. No, look, this is just hypothetical. Fujifilm is not like this. Fujifilm has created a lot of things, including COVID medicines, right? That contributes, I'm sure, to the to the COVID research. Okay, so a lot of respect to Fujifilm. But so what I just wanted to say is like, if you only have one product and you talk about sustainable growth, why? And like, I think it's fine that companies is not always going concern. I know that accounting standard says going concern. All assume everybody do going concern. But in the future, I do believe that you don't have to all the time goes for going concern. If your product is singular and not diversified, I hope your employees are diversified. You know, but if your companies is not diversified, it's an option. It's a maneuver that you can do. But just remember that you prepare for that. Let's say, for example, joint venture, right? That is one example. Um, but sometimes you didn't plan for joint venture in the beginning. You planned for a company, but it ended up being like that. And it is not, as long as it is not at a loss, like it is a maneuver that should be fine. And I do believe that policymakers should make it easier for people to do this. Not always going concern all the time. Sometimes being able to plan your exit is great. It's great. But again, guys, I say if you want to do going sustainable growth, it's very important to diversify. Next, Modern Slavery Act Transparency Statement. Pursuant to the UK Modern Slavery Act 2015, we published the statement attached herewith, in which we declare that neither slavery nor human trafficking is involved in our own business and supply chain. Modern Slavery Act 2015. Under the Act, certain commercial organizations doing business in the UK shall annually make and publish a statement that elaborates procedures for preventing slavery and human trafficking in their own businesses and supply chain. Since we meet following criteria, the Act is applicable to us. We therefore publish the statement on our corporate website. Criteria: commercial organization that supplies goods and services in the UK, including organizations located outside of the UK, and has a total turnover of not less than 300 not 36 million pounds per year upon consolidated and worldwide basis. So it's not really that high. It's a lot, but it's not really. A lot of companies would fall into this. And Modern Slavery Act transparency statement. Um, okay. There's a link to a. This is a link to a document. I'm opening the document. Please wait, guys. Um, Square Enix respects workers' human rights and strives to ensure that every worker in our business and supply chains is provided with good working conditions, fair treatment, and reasonable pay. This statement is made pursuant to Section 54(1) of the UK Modern Slavery Act 2015 and sets out the steps we took during the financial year 2021, ending 31st of March 2022. Corporate structure. Square Enix Holdings Co. Limited is a holding company of the Square Enix Group, which provides video games and other entertainment products and services around the world, including the United Kingdom. The Square Enix Group takes our social responsibility very seriously to address the issues of slavery and human trafficking and takes a group-wide approach to combat these issues. All or part of the steps set out in the statement, therefore, have been taken by all of the companies in the Square Enix Group. Policies. We are committed to preventing slavery or human trafficking in every part of our business or supply chains. The code of conduct adopted by Square Enix Group requires our directors and employees to conduct our business with high professional and ethical standards and in compliance with applicable laws of the jurisdictions where we conduct our business. Okay, guys, sorry. I I ran out of stamina, guys. um I wasn't really concentrating well. I missed some stuff, and if you guys think I've made some mistakes, and if you guys did not agree to what I say, please leave your comments in the comment section, and I'll think about it, guys. I like to think, and while I'm thinking, probably I would figure out some stuff, and I would change my previous position. So your thoughts could be fallible. It could be trash, but it could be fallible. The same way with mine as well. Uh, okay, I'm sorry, man. Next, the code of conduct also requires us to consider suppliers' financial conditions and track records to ensure that contract terms between us and suppliers are fair. It also requires us to provide a healthy and comfortable working environment to our employees and treat them fairly. Our group also has a whistleblowing system in place which encourages employees to report any wrongdoing, including slavery and human trafficking. A copy of the code of conduct is available at. Okay, isn't it this one? Isn't it this one? Oh, have I read the code of conduct already? Well, is this the code of conduct? This is the corporate philosophy. Yeah, this is the. No, 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 no. That's the philosophy, right? Okay, that's the philosophy. Okay, due diligence process. Our current view is that the risk of slavery or human trafficking in our supply chains is low. We therefore are not currently conducting due diligence. Okay, so this is the first document that I read, guys. Anyway, however, we will consider taking measures with increased scrutiny, such as audit or third-party verification process, if we find any signs of higher risk on any of our suppliers. If we suspect that a supplier is involved in slavery or human trafficking, we will investigate the supplier immediately and, if necessary, take remedial action or terminate our relationship with the supplier. 5. Action. We have introduced new provisions into the outsourcing management rule to make it clear that we assure through our compliance check that our outsourcing vendors do not engage in slavery, child labor, and human trafficking. The internal audit has already started for such provisions. This statement was pre-approved by the board of directors of Square Enix Holdings Co. Limited. Yosuke Matsuda, president and representative director, Square Enix Holdings Co. Limited, 27th of April 2022. So it's very, very recent. Very recent, guys. And very recent as well. The structure of the company changed significantly in this embrace purchase situation. So expect renewal of policies in the future as well. But I'm sure for something that is very as recent as that, 27th of April this year, I think there are like when you created a policy, you would create an administration in relation to that policy as well. So they would want to keep the momentum. They would want to keep. They wouldn't like unless there's a very good reason. They wouldn't change too much because they've already like implementing the administration, right? Like theoretically speaking, every internal company is different. Due diligence process. Uh, Square Enix currently believes the risk of slavery or human trafficking in its supply. Oh, I'm sorry. No, 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 no. What number am I on? Um, okay, so this is the last part of this about Square Enix Group. January 25, 2008, implemented corporate philosophy. Okay, so this is the log of the policy and the implementation at the end right here. Really nice, really wonderful. So there's still a lot of things that must be interesting to read. They still have president's message, right? They have corporate profile, corporate governance. So these are all interesting stuff, guys. Executive biographies, the people who are involved in it, group companies, history, um, of course, investor relations. There are financial information as well. Very interesting. And we can look into deeper about the structure of the company. And almost all multinational companies actually have this kind of site where people could scrutinize them. And I hope there are more and more people are participating in this because it seems like the only people who care about this are those people at are just all about power, guys. They just don't want to synchronize with reality. I don't know why. Okay, thank you very much, guys. I'll see you again in the next time. uh Goodbye for now.